Hi everyone, welcome back to JP WHU TV live on YouTube and Periscope, aka also would be live on Twitter as well, I'm guessing. As always, my name is John, your host. It's always a pleasure to see you guys, and I hope you're doing well under these very difficult circumstances. As you can see, we have the interloper as usual, AJ from Kiwi Hammers. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, Sunshine. How are we? Staying out of trouble?
A lot more, staying out a lot more trouble than I'd like. Let me put it that way. But yeah,
wow,
it's a real pain. It's a real pain working from home. I mean, I'm loving it at the same point, but I just want to get out of the house more often than I am. I absolutely hate it. What one trip out of the house a week, and that's to the bloody supermarket. It's ridiculous.
Doesn't help that you have my ugly mug interrupting your lunch break, eh?
It certainly doesn't help, mate, at all. But guys, guys, the purpose of today's video is we're talking about and I'm saying now, you guys, you know me, I don't like talking about rumor unless there's something to it. And there is a lot of things to this. Oh, Wally's back. Good morning, mate. Hope you're doing all right. And surprise, Charlie Walsh is in the group as well. Watched your podcast with him that you did the other day, mate. It was quite entertaining. Wasn't as crazy as I thought it was going to be, to be fair. You guys kept it quite sensible. I was quite disappointed from one point of view, but it was good. Enjoyed it.
It's all right, mate. It's all right because the next one that I have with Charlie Walsh is going to be a little bit off the rail. So I've already got things planned, and it won't just be Charlie. There's a couple of other people coming in as well, so it should be a bloody good one.
Yeah, good pun intended there, mate. Off the rails, hey. Especially with the job that you're doing or not doing.
Absolutely.
At the moment. Darren's in as well. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Right, so let's crack on with it, mate. Because we ain't got a lot of time. Issa Diop has been linked to a 52, give or take, £1 million move to Spurs. Now, from one point of view, it's not. It is understandable. It's not a shock because after the January after we bought him, he was linked to going to PSG. So people are clearly monitoring him. Mourinho has not been quiet about admiring him under any circumstances. I mean, when we played Man United at home that season before last, he called him a beast. So he's clearly keeping an eye on it. But this really, really grates me. But AJ, first of all, I want to get your opinion on this before I talk about it.
I think it's all goes well. I think at this present point in time, with the uncertainty around everything, not just football, but across all sports, the uncertainty in all these markets and whatnot. Look, I wouldn't believe anything at all at this present point in time because we haven't got enough definitive answers. Look, it's all very well and good looking at what Mourinho said, especially with his time at United and PSG. Look, we all know for a fact that if PSG are interested, it's genuine. I don't get that with Mourinho's Spurs. I didn't get that with Mourinho's United, for crying out loud. I don't think he's going to leave, to be perfectly honest. I think he's as I've said this with our good mates over on American Hammers TV, the problem is he's a quality player that's going to shine in the future. He needs to build, we need to bring in the right coaches for him to get the best out of him and the defensive players in general, of course, but we need to bring in the right coaches to get the right stuff out of them. At this present point in time, it's still very uncertain as to whether or not he's going to be that star player of the future. But at this present point in time, I think we've got to keep him as best and as much as humanly possible.
Agreed, which is one of the reasons why it's a £52 million move, because apparently that is more than Spurs are willing to pay, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. What I do have an issue with is the fact that they're trying to sponge the money off the government. Had 2 weeks worth of public outcry from pretty much everywhere, not just the Spurs fans, but you, me, bloody, I know Gonzo was talking about it as well. Loads of conversations have been going around over the last couple of weeks on Twitter, on Facebook about it, and all of a sudden, like Liverpool, but not as quickly as Liverpool, because Liverpool did exactly the same thing. They only recalled it because of public outcry, and yet
Absolutely.
they're looking to do a 30, 35, 40 million pound bid for Issa Diop. Bollocks, man. I'm sorry, but that's complete and utter hypocrisy from Spurs. I mean, at the end of the day, as Gonzo quite rightly said when this was all coming out that they were linked with other players and whatnot, which is it? You either got the money or you don't. So there's no point trying to sponge the money off the government if you've got money to spend. It's as simple as that. It's robbing Peter. Well, yeah, it is. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul.
But basically, you're absolutely right there. I think, we're looking at Spurs from a level-minded, point of view. It's kind of interesting. It really is because, again, it's as you say, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. One of these things just doesn't add up here. You can put whatever analogy you want on it, but it doesn't take away the fact that Spurs and Liverpool, to a certain extent, Spurs mainly, have been acting very dodgy over the last couple of weeks. What are they planning? And it's not just Issa Diop. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a West Ham fan out there that isn't wondering what the hell is going on at that club at the minute, because you've just got to look at them switching their changing their minds. It's ridiculous.
It's literally some of the things that Karen Brady has well in common with Daniel Levy. Won't do anything until the hand is caught in the cookie jar, and that's exactly what's happened with this.
Yeah.
But if it was normal circumstances, we wouldn't be talking about this. We really, really wouldn't be talking about this, because I agree. I think it's a load of hog shit. But at the same point, because of how stupid things can get, I wouldn't be at all surprised if there is some form of interest in that. It's like for example, what Sean Whetstone said about Matty Cash on their article on Claret and Hugh. Completely right. There's not very often that I agree with Sean and Hugh on the stuff that they talk about, but completely right. My video when I talked about it last week was the fact that this was interest raised in December, early January. X confirmed it on the podcast last week as well, and as usual, a week or so later, because they've got nothing else to write about, Claret and Hugh are now saying, no, this isn't fresh interest. This is stories being recycled from January. Now, as much as I admire the information that I found out about Matty Cash, there was a really, really good comment from a Notts Forest fan on the video as well. I do genuinely think it was a Sullivan test the water bid, just as I think this is a Mourinho test the water bid to see how much we're willing to cave under. And from one point of view, as I say, if this all is true, then I'm glad that West Ham have gone, no, we don't want your money. This is what our figure is. Take it or leave it. And apparently, Mourinho's looking elsewhere. So, which fills me, as I say, AJ, you and I have had loads of conversations over the last 18 months to 2 years where we criticise both publicly and privately, criticise how badly West Ham do things. But to be fair, over the last 4 to 5 weeks, they've been doing everything completely spot on, and this is another example of it.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, I haven't caught up on what Claret and Hugh have put out. Kiwi Hammers TV is not any way affiliated with Claret and Blue. I've made my thoughts on that site relatively known. So I don't know what dross they're pulling out from the sewers. So
it's basically what they're doing, mate, is they're reacting to what Twitter and probably my video, because I know he watches my channel every now and again, because the stuff that happened last summer when I was at Fulham away, did an article and I criticised him straight. I jumped straight on and said, mate, you might want to talk to the person who was actually involved in it first before doing an article. But yeah, it's just the fact that they've got nothing else to talk about. You know, whereas I did even though the video came out on Friday, I did the article. I recorded the video on Tuesday afternoon when the story originally broke. So from that point of view, I'm quite impressed that I was able to get information out before those guys did, because it's taken them a week to do it. But yeah, I mean, and just to clarify what you were saying, mate, you're not affiliated, nor am I for that matter, to Claret and Hugh, because you're referring to Claret and Blue, which is obviously your new TV series that you're doing at the minute. So
yeah,
but yeah, which is good fun. It's great to watch that you're seeing all the information. But like you're saying, mate, there's not much to talk about at the moment, including this conversation. To be fair, because we've pretty much covered it.
To be fair, at this point, I'm just making up the time, so you know, you get a little bit more in the way of view time. So,
but you know, this. I mean, this. The weird thing is that the fact that there is just so much dross around at the minute, where loads of people are losing. I've seen it. I've seen loads of conversations. I mean, not as much as normal, obviously, but I've seen conversations. Like, for example, when I promoted the Matty Cash video on various groups on Facebook, they will say, "Don't want him." Well, why don't you want him? Or, you know, or stuff with, you know, oh, talk about preparing for the championship. Any West Ham fan who says, "Oh, talk about preparing with the championship," in my personal opinion, is either thinking that all we're doing is just trying to get down to the championship again, which is not a bad thing to think about, because at the end of the day, we've been struggling for seasons. But at the same point, when it's been documented that Moyes has been saying that he's going to be focusing on young players and developing them, the only way we can really do that is getting them from the championship. I mean, there's
and he
not much
fits the bill.
difference. Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. If West Ham fans can't see the fact that we're looking at championship players because we're trying to improve them and sell them on, which is what all Premier League clubs should be doing to a degree, then it worries me about the fan base. It really, really worries me. But they could be like you know, just the sofa supporters. So,
come on now, come on now, come on, none of
mate,
that.
you know me. I've got to have a balance. I've got to have a balanced opinion on both sides.
Yeah, kissing my ass 1 second, then running my name through the shit. I feel you, bro. I feel you.
But Mick, hello, mate. Good to see you. Hope you're doing all right. Bobby Dazzler. Oh, here's a good comment from Bobby. Hello, mate. Hello, fellas. What worries me is that we have already heard from the board that we are skint. I would be surprised. I don't think it means if you wouldn't be surprised if we did sell Diop, but not please not to Spurs. Bobby, everybody is skint. Everybody is having a lot of financial problems, not just in the Premier League, but all of the football clubs, and of course the rest of the world for that matter. The amount of because the furlough scheme officially launched yesterday morning, and there was about, if I remember correctly, it was something in the region of, what was it, like 16,000 applications in one day for it. You know, there's that it's an awful situation that we're all going through. Fortunately, this government are doing absolutely brilliantly with how they're handling things. They didn't start off very well. I'm not gonna deny it. They start.
I,
I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and I was literally saying, because you go back and watch the live streams and the videos I was shooting, I said every single thing I called about when it came to this lockdown and everything, I've called within 2 days of it happening. For example, one of the first videos I did when we started working from home, which is basically 5 weeks ago now, I said that we would be in lockdown by that weekend. I think AJ, I think you and I were talking about it at that point, weren't we?
yeah, that's about right.
Literally 2 days later, on the Friday afternoon, it was announced we were on lockdown, which is fine. I haven't got an issue with it, because at the end of the day, the figures are starting to drop. We are starting to get over the peak bump, as it were. But AJ,
Well,
I read something this morning that you guys over in New Zealand are taking a little bit of a lax attitude towards it now as well, isn't it? Starting to.
yeah, so we come out of lockdown. Well, lockdown is relaxed slightly as of Monday next week. So we've had a alert system built 1 to 4. We go from level 4, which is full and complete lockdown, essential workers only, to level 3, which is a little bit more relaxed, you know, staying in your bubbles, all that sort of thing. But no, for the most part, look, it's a decision I'm not completely happy with. The numbers are still falling rapidly. This was day 3 of single digit numbers.
Yeah.
But I'm very much. I would much prefer stay home until there are no cases being reported, no deaths. The only thing that's being reported is the amount of recoveries. But
Absolutely. And
saying that, I do work in public transport, so I've got to be even more careful.
yeah, agreed, 100%, mate. And likewise, because I need to take public transport when I go back into the office, which in probably 6-7 weeks time, however long it's going to be.
Hitchhiking doesn't count as public transport, John. How many more times do I have to tell you this?
A ride for a ride.
And neither's
Mixed message. If and only if this rotten season is played out, staying in this division has a big say in the matter. Agreed, Mick, 100%. And Charles made a good point as well. You can get young players from anywhere. You can make the argument you get much better value for money abroad. To be honest, yeah, it's not a bad shout, mate. It's not a bad shout, but always the whole point of West Ham is having as much homegrown count as possible, which is obviously the reason why we're trying to do that. Miles Austin's an Arsenal interloper saying he'd love to have Diop at Arsenal. Keep dreaming, sunshine. And Wally says if we do, I hope we keep Diop. He and Allaire are French speakers, so seem to be buds. Yep, it's not a bad shout on that.
Not to mention, you've got Arthur Masuaku in there as well, and there was a video that the club put out not too long ago that I actually got a reply back from as well. There was, what was the guy's name? I can't remember, but there was Sebastian, Arthur, and Issa, and they were just walking around London and all that sort of thing. Bloody good video. Go check it out on the club YouTube channel because it's absolutely worth it. And my followers, I'll find it and I'll retweet it as well. So, yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because at the end of the day, you are going to get that sort of England mentality where the French speakers will huddle together, the English speakers huddle together, the attack, etc., etc. You know, but like for example, I'm sure that Lanzini and Fornals are quite pally because they it's basically Spanish that the pair of them speak. So, and likewise with Anderson with his group and everything. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks. But honestly, guys, I do genuinely think, as AJ, you're absolutely right, mate. As long as the figures keep coming down, because there was less people being admitted into hospital over the last couple of days over here, and even though we had a rise on Saturday and Sunday of people dying. The death count yesterday for Sunday was a lot lower than it has been over the last few weeks. So it's really good from that point of view. Charlie says Bowen would have cost less if he was from any other league or any other country, in my opinion. Yep, not wrong, mate.
Yep.
You're not wrong. But as I said, every club is under financial restraints at the minute, and if we do start putting bids in for players that we were trying to go for in January, I think Sullivan's going to be in his element. I really think he's going to be in his element.
But in saying that, we've still got one player out on loan that I know for a fact will absolutely do bits for us, and that is # recall Big George.
I know you're going to say that. Honestly. You never know,
man. That's for brother Charlie. That's for brother Charlie.
You never know. We could have him. We could put him in defence. He's big enough for it.
This guy.
No, I mean, Jordan. I was going to say Jordan, as Charlie said, Jordan Hugill is the underdog of the underdogs. Agreed, 100% on that. When we've spoken about him before, I do feel very sorry for him the way things happened, but you never know. He could come back at the start of next season and absolutely smash it alongside Allaire and Fornals. And I mean, mate, we've seen funnier things, we've seen weirder things at West Ham over the years. But
well,
start him off.
Jimmy,
He goes, depending on where I must say, it's no to selling Diop, and Bowen may have been cheaper from another league, but I don't think we have another Vaste.
Not wrong, TJ. Not wrong at all.
No, I mean he's Bowen can play as a second striker as well as being out on both sides of the wings. So, and likewise with the other loanee that can smash it up next season, Diangana. Lot of talk about people saying he's going to be replacing Anderson because he's been smashing it for West Brom down the left. Your thoughts on that, mate?
Well, if you were in the American Hammer stream earlier today, there was a guy in there that was wanting us to flick him for 20 million. Look, I say that's absolute hogswash. I truly rate him. I really do. I understand that there are people out there that don't necessarily have Diangana in the exact same esteem as what I do, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. But he's a player. He's young. He's fitting the profile that David Moyes has set out. He's going to be an absolute player in the not too distant future. We don't have another Reece Oxford here. We have a player who is going to be an absolute machine. Look at what he did against Macclesfield Town last season. Yes, okay, that was only League Two competition, bottom of League Two, I might add, but nobody scores 2 goals against Macclesfield at that age, or against another club at that age, with that talent.
And
I'm
also,
sorry, I don't see him. I don't see him leaving the club. I think he is going to be. I wouldn't say he's going to go out on loan again, but I don't see him actually coming into the Premier League full time until the 21-22 season.
his league debut after that game as well, he was playing well. The whole fan base said exactly the same thing, that he needs to go to the Championship to physical up because he just wasn't strong enough. Now he's doing it.
His physicality is still something that does concern me a little bit. He's a bit too weak on the ball, but in saying that, what you need to do is you need to alternate. Yeah, and I think alternating between the Premier League and League Two, every couple of weeks, that will definitely boost his confidence, and he's going to get that mentality that, I'm not made of glass. I'm not as fragile as I think I am. Once he gets that mentality, the man's going to be unstoppable. Mark my words, I've got big, big dreams for him.
Yep, and you're not the only one, mate.
Yeah.
Excellent point, AJ. I hope he stays on with the team and not out on loan.
Well, I mean, you've just got to look at the talent this kid has. I've been banging on about it for the last couple of months. He's been absolutely brilliant. He is one of those players that is going to tear the Premier League alike, just like Jared Bowen. He's still young enough to be put up top as a second striker if need be. Yep. So it wouldn't surprise me if in the next couple of years, Haller's gone and we see a front two consisting of Bowen and Diangana. What an all-English lineup that is up top. That's got goals in it right there.
Yeah, agreed. Probably more of a front three, I reckon. Bowen and Diangana out on either side of the attack, and with a proper centre forward up front. But again, could beat never.
Oh well, that's Jordan. That's Jordan Hugel right there.
I knew that was saying. I was literally about to say it. But you never know. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, people think that what's his name now? Defoe wasn't strong enough, and look at the goals he's been able to score.
Yeah, this is true too. Mind you, so this is the big problem that I have. Just going off on yet another tangent, Jermaine Defoe, I feel, has got a lot of unjust criticism about, especially around that whole transfer, because yes, I can see where the majority of the fans are coming from. He is Judas in that sense, but at the same time, he's got to go where he's going to get England call-ups.
But he has
granted Spurs wasn't the best of decisions, but at the same time,
yeah, I mean, but as I say, he has admitted quite frequently over the last 7 to 8 years that he made a poor decision. He was doing what his agent instructed him to do. He was 18, 19 at the time.
And at least he's apologised for it too. So that for me,
it's just
when we were linked with him. Sorry,
just
mate.
it just really irritates me, right? That I mean, when I found out the original news, yeah, I hated the foe for a while, especially the fact that he used to celebrate when he used to score against us when he was playing for Spurs. But who here, out of anyone that's in the live chat now, and who out of anybody that's watching the replay of this, who here didn't make any mistakes when they were 19 years old? There's not one person that will sit back and thought, no, I shouldn't have done that, I should have done this. And this is exactly the same thing. And at the end of the day, like you're saying, mate, he admitted to it, and as I'm saying as well, that he admitted to it, and the fact that you just got to let it go. It's like people with hating Lampard as well, for that matter. Can you look on the flip side, right? Can you honestly blame him for leaving a football club where he was booed for being overweight? He thought that it was nepotism because his uncle and his dad were in the managerial lineup at the time, and still to this day, people sing songs about him. And I sing the One Man Couldn't Carry song because it's funny. It cracks me up. That's the only reason, like for example, one of Lampard's last seasons at Chelsea, I went to the away game. I sang every single song except the song that says that everyone was singing at Lampard, saying you let your family down. That's over the barrel for me, as far as I'm concerned. That's just, you just don't do stuff like that. At the end of the day, he was made uncomfortable by the fan base. And so what do you expect? He's going to celebrate in front of people when he scores, being in the opposition side, because it's Chelsea, and he knows that he pisses people off. But it's a bit of not, I can't say revenge. Well, yeah, it is. It's kind of like revenge on the fan base and saying, well, this if you'd have treated me better, this is what you would have had.
You're not wrong. I mean, look at what he's done at Chelsea, right? He might be a Chelsea legend. He might be one of the all-time greats, but you peel back that blue and white. What colours are he on, or is he underneath? Same as what we're wearing, claret and blue.
Yeah,
I'll quite happily go have this discussion with Chelsea fans. You bet your ass I will, because he's just like John Terry, just like Rio.
Mm-hmm.
The Michael Carrick, for fuck's sake. Sorry, but you're getting me in a bit of a ranty mood here, because of the fact that these guys are West Ham players. At the end of the day, they came through the Academy of Football when it was at its prime. Yes, okay, with Lampard Jr., things went sour. Things went real sour real quick. But at the same time, it didn't help that his old man was allegedly sacked by the club. It doesn't help that his entire family was essentially outcasted by the club at the same time. I'm sorry, but yes, we made some poor decisions in the past, but we 100% cannot blame these guys for going to places where they were going to be utilized, going to be used the right way. And that's just me. That's my own opinion. Feel free to at me in the comments section or on Twitter, or I'm more than happy to discuss this further.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
Because at the end of the day, mate, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and there's always one little git that never says they do anything wrong. And what a surprise, it's Charlie.
I've known you for years, my friend. You really want to go down this road?
Oh dear, but no, he's got his bants and hyperdrive today. He really does, bless him. Bobby's makes a good point. So Defoe made mistakes for sure. We don't know what advice he was getting from his so-called agent. At 19, you can have your head turned quite easily. That's the point I'm completely making. Yeah, there is that on top of it as well, for that matter. And where is it? Jimmy's saying, I'm giving for Anderson the rest of the season. I think forgiving. Because if Kevin the skipper Nolan can't sort out his lack of work ethic, no one can, and sell him ASAP to get the maximum pounds. Yeah, I agree, mate. That's kind of the thinking work behind most of it. And Jimmy's also saying, AJ speaking the truth. John, we had our conversation about Lampard, and it took a while to forgive him for the airport incident in 2001. We'll go into that another time. But he was He was a bloody kid, and I forgave Defoe years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
there are people that are there are people that are really starting to come around now. You know, unfortunately, it's the old dogs. You know, absolutely love the old dogs for what they've done for the fan base of this club. But you know, I just firmly feel, you know, it's unfortunately one of those opinions that's held by the old dogs that won't go away essentially for quite some
Yeah.
time. So no disrespect to them, of course.
No. I mean, my mate Steve. I've had this conversation many a time. He won't change his opinion. Fair enough, but it's just one of those things. Until the guy properly retires out of football, everyone's gonna hate him for it for the rest of his days. Unfortunately.
Just before we wrap up, if we are going to wrap up, one big thing that I do want to mention is what he did with Bradley Lowry at
Yes.
Sunderland when Bradley was still around. You cannot tell me he earned respect from what he did.
Oh,
I'm
great.
sorry that wasn't a publicity stunt. That wasn't a grab at our collective heartstrings. That was a man who genuinely fell head over heels for this kid and his family. God rest his soul, rest in peace, Bradley Lowry. But what Jermaine was doing for that kid and that family can never, ever be underestimated.
No, it was very, very good over everything that he was able to help bring awareness, which has helped, which has gone on to get Isla Caton's help with treatment as well, and apparently their family still need to have a bit of help as well, achieving their target as well, you know. And but this, you know, this is the horrible thing that there's more and more reports of kids coming out with this now. It is heartbreaking, and I'm surprised that we haven't seen any kids with any COVID viruses yet. We haven't seen it yet. There's nothing. I mean, well, there was one, but she was more like 9. She was more like 19. I'm saying like little kids that have got battling with cancer that are being struck down by it and stuff. But anyway, guys, yeah, it is time to wrap this up. So thank you very much to everyone that's been in the chat. It's great to see you. And AJ, as always, mate, it's good to see you. We always have an interesting conversation when we talk about things.
Thank you. It was rather last minute, but I saw that. Because I'm literally working on a video at the moment, just in the pre-production stage. So, no, this was very much what my video is going to be about as well. But that'll be releasing tomorrow at some stage over on Kiwi Hammers TV, probably 7:30 tomorrow night NZ time. So that'll be 6:30 BST.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So about 6:30 BST tomorrow for that video.
So guys, thank you very much for your time. If you want to help support the channel on Patreon, there's a link in the description below and a description of all the tiers as well. If you like any of the retro shirts, of course, then by all means do click on that link in the description, and also check out the channel shop because there's a few more changes that I've done recently. So guys, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. AJ, enjoy your sleep, mate.
I'm not going to sleep anytime soon, my son.
Look after yourselves, stay safe, stay indoors, except obviously going out in the garden. But other than that, I'll see you guys very, very soon.